Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. So this is the upstate Honda TRX200SX, and it threw a chain and quite honestly punched a hole. I don't know if you guys could see that, right? Literally punched a hole right in the engine. What I want to do is I want to drag this in and quite honestly figure out what the heck I'm going to do with it. It's been sitting around for a little while now, and I kind of want to go front to back and all through it and see if this is going to stay intact or if I'm going to part it out. I got to see what kind of shape the rear axle bearings are in. I have to chase all the bees away from it because they seem to be all over. So anyway, let's roll it into the shade over there and see what we're going to do with it. Whenever I work on an all-terrain vehicle, I always kind of like to start in the beginning. And the beginning is making sure I put the leads on the battery correctly. And I did that by probing between the head and the ground lead to make sure I had continuity. So I know that one is ground. And so I'm powering up the engine. And of course it's not cooperating, right? And very quickly, I got no lights. I made sure it's in neutral, right? I got no starter. I got no headlight. I got nothing. So I wanted to determine that right off. So that's the first thing to do. Secondly, I like to make sure the engine has no obstructions. So, and you do that by giving this a quick turn with the spark plug out, right? And it seems to go round and round, and I don't hear any bad sounds. It feels like it's fighting me enough, so the valves are actuating. It feels like the piston is moving, so that's all good things. Next, after that, I like to do a wet and dry compression test. So here's the dry. So it's coming in a little over 60. Once again, you want to make sure there's no obstruction. I took the carburetor slide out, so it's getting plenty of air. I'm going to hit it with a little oil. Let's see what we get. So I put some oil in the cylinder and very gently I, tapped the starter, so to speak, and let it go around. I didn't just wing it about with the with the spark plug hole open, because then it would have shot oil all over me. Amusing to watch, but not much fun. So anyway, now there's oil in there. Let's see what it comes up with. Boy, it's barely coming in at 90. So when I get a cover on this thing, if I replace that cover, it sounds pretty good, but it may or may not start. We'll see. Anyhow, let's keep going on and see what we end up with. I put a little more charge on the battery. Let me give it another quick try. So it looks like it came in just under 100. Well, we'll see. Well, you ever work on something and just say to yourself, man, I might have been taken here. And I was trying to get this gear off because I wanted to clean this up. So I figured, oh well, I'll just pop it into first. Won't go into first. That's some bad news there. Between that and everything else, boy, I really this is just one you don't want to bring home. So if we have a locked up shifter and the transmission is blown up on this thing, the project ends here. But just one place to check if your shifter won't move is you really want to check your clutch here. So you can see what I did. I backed off the retaining bolt and I spun it out as far as it would go, right? And remember, as you tighten that in, you put pressure on the clutch. You take the play out of it, so when you move this handle, you have less play on the clutch. You move the handle only a little bit and it'll disengage the clutch. As a matter of fact, if you tighten it too much, your clutch will stay disengaged and it won't let the handle move. Anyway, I did that. And we're in neutral now. And one click up, we went into gear. And you could even see the shift indicator moving. So that's all good. Neutral. Nope, first neutral. So we got it shifting again. So the work, if I say so another few times. Anyhow, if we could keep the work going on this thing, we haven't hit any major obstacles to make it so that, oh, I'm going to stop working on it. So finally we can look at the damage that was done when the chain was thrown. First thing you could see, you could kind of see this big hole here, right? Obviously you don't want that. The other thing you want to notice is, see how this is pushed down right here? So any repair to this case has to be made so that it'll meet up to the next case in, or just for a laugh, let's call it the engine block. As I work my way, you know, all the way to the bottom, you could see it's good, you could see it's pushed in, you could see the hole, you can see it meets, and then basically I think it's good the rest of the way around. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of color, hopefully I'm showing it to you, I'm having a tough time seeing the camera. I'm gonna kind of color this in, so I know if I put epoxy or something here that I gotta extend it further up. So anyway, time to get the cover off and let's see what else is going on. Here's the cover I just pulled off, and obviously you can see there's a hole in there. One thing that you weren't able to see though, see this crack up here? That's not good either. So those are two things. And lastly, from the damage that was done to the case, there was a raised area right here that I just buffed down a little bit. What I used to do that is I took a small piece of angle iron and wrapped it in emery cloth, so I had a flat surface, very fine emery cloth, like 500. So there's that. The next comment comes, well, what are we going to do to fix it? And there are two places you can go. This is a $150 stator cover from eBay. It came with the stator, the pulse generator, and the reverse switch. Though the reverse switch has a piece broken off of it. See how that thing sticks out? And as you shift it, it's the reverse safety switch and so forth. So that piece is broken off. I don't care. I don't care if it shows me neutral and reverse and all that other stuff. Not important to me. But this case looks about perfect, right? I mean, there's really no damage. So I think I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with this also because it already has the stator in it and so forth. This is a cheaper case from eBay. It didn't come with the stator, the pulse generator, or the reverse switch. All those are missing. And you could also see that it was repaired. I don't know, I think this was like 75 bucks, and then I had to have it shipped. Call it $100 one. So you can see somebody already kind of patched it up. It's got no damage up here. The only damage is down here. The other thing you could see is, you see how the epoxy kind of sticks off a little bit? And you can kind of see this is raised just a little bit. I think the story was that the other side of the case, what this thing bolts to, so to speak, I think that was damaged, and they just kind of glopped that right inside. I believe that I'm going to be able to use my angle iron trick once again and get that all nice and smoothed down, and that I'm going to be able to use this case too. Even this case, the one with the massive hole in it, I think even that's salvageable. But for now, I'm going to check to make sure that the pulse generator is good. I have a fresh gasket. I'm going to put that on here, and we're going to bolt it together. This is the pulse generator, and you see the blue and yellow wire that comes out right there. And you can see it's going into one of my ohm meter probes, and the red wire goes to green, which goes to ground. And I'm getting about 336 ohms. If I check this one, it comes in about 325. So just to give you an idea, now I'll show you what the stator looks like. The stators that power the CDI are these two guys right here. And notice, once again, I'm at ground, and I'm at the black and red, and we get 196 ohms. This one's pretty much the same. So just to give you guys kind of an idea of what you should be reading on your meter. I didn't want to put this on the quad and then discover that I have an open stator or an open or a shorted pulse generator. Well, tubers, we just ran into another problem, and I don't know if you guys could see that down in there, but what it is this bolt broken off. I cleaned up the recoil starter basket, oiled it up, put it in, and the bolt wouldn't start. And I took a look in there, and there's one broken off. Probably what happened is he attempted to put in, you know, an SAE bolt in there and snapped it off. Boy, this thing had enough troubles between throwing a chain and damaging the case, missing the recoil starter, having a problem with the transmission, the wheels are falling off, the fake plastic and everything else. This thing was just one well-worn all-terrain vehicle. Wow. Believe it or not, I still have hopes of getting it running. What I'm going to have to do is use some of my trickery to get that bolt out. Particularly, I want, you know, I'll drill a small hole in the center and put a reverse tap on it, so to speak, or easy out on it, and see if we can't very gently turn it out. It's best to drill that with the backwards drill also. So I need to collect up all that stuff and kind of hit it fresh in the morning. One doesn't want to do it in the afternoon when it's about to rain and one's already a bit tired for the day. So I'll hit it again in the morning. So I'm going to end this here. And in the meantime, I just have to say, I traded for this all-terrain vehicle. Traded a couple of three-wheelers that I didn't want, a couple of Yamaha three-wheelers. Considering the distance and everything else, this really wasn't the best deal that I've gotten in a while. I really have to say to people who want to play in this, if somebody took it apart and they really didn't know what they were up to, you can find a lot of the problems, like the wrong bolts on it and broken off bolts and, you know, welded features like that. So you really got to pay attention to what one is getting into. The other thing is, especially with this bike, given that the tires are nothing great, even if it ran, given its ugly factor, what could it be worth? You know, if it ran well, $500. If it runs like it looks, $300. So, you know, and even if you say, oh well, I'll get parts off of it. What parts? The cover's gone, the recoil's missing, the tires are shot. You have no guarantee that the top end and carburetor are any good. I mean, what do you got here? And once again, one doesn't know what else is wrong with it. Once I get it started up, I can have some more unfortunate discoveries. Yeah, when they're this well used, it's really best to pick it up as parts. If you're picking it up to fix it, that's another whole thing. Another thing is, I'm noticing he's got this clamp around this carburetor intake manifold. These intake manifolds are very hard to find for this particular four-wheeler. You could get them, but they're like that cover, you know, $150, $200. So if you got to go $200 on the cover and $200 on the intake manifold, you just put $400 into a $300 quad. Oh, and you still got to get the recoil starter, which is another $50 to $75. Call it 75, right? There you are. You're at $500 into a quad or an all-terrain vehicle that's not worth $500. So, once again, if you find one that a kid practiced his mechanical abilities on, especially if he forced a bunch of SAE bolts where metric bolts should have gone, one wants to approach that four-wheeler with a whole lot of caution. Like I'll give you $50 for it type of caution. Anyway, I really want to thank everybody for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. I'm really sorry we didn't get it running in this series of videos. Hopefully tomorrow, or it'll be to the point where I know that it doesn't pay to put any more time and effort into this thing. Please remember to keep your feet down, your heads up, and get out and enjoy every other day. For me, I'd rather not be doing anything other than this, so, you know, this is my day. This is what I enjoy. Take care now.